All right, we're going to take a look at Alstott's Army, Stephen Overstreet. He wasn't able to make the draft, but we took his input, and I don't know if it actually adjusted the draft orders or anything, or if it went with average draft position. But I promised him I wouldn't let it make a horrible draft for him, and actually I think it did a fairly decent job here. Looking at the quarterbacks, we got Peyton Manning, Chad Henne. Obviously, Chad Henne is not going to start but 1 week if that's necessary, because he may, find another quarterback, see who's a hot hand, because Peyton's going to pretty much start every week. You don't have to worry about point production. Solid start at quarterback. Running backs, we got very impressive Maurice Jones-Drew. Pierre Thomas is a decent number 2 back. And we've got Brandon Jacobs, Willis McGahee, and Brian Westbrook. Now, Willis McGahee is a nice third back, or he's actually a 4th back, but he's a solid position because it's a nice handcuff to the Ray Rice owner. So I'm just telling you, if you want to make a trade to cover your bases, you might want to contact Stephen. He's because Willis McGahee is also the short down, short yardage, goal line package back, so he wouldn't be a bad hold, a bad run back to hold in reserve. And Brian Westbrook is his last back there, is a nice handcuff to Frank Gore owner, so just letting you know. But overall, nice job on the running backs. Good depth, good production. Looking at receivers, we've got a nice complement of receivers. Greg Jennings, Jermichael Finley, Dallas Clark, Terrell Owens, Lawrence Robinson, Lewis Murphy. There's no bye week issues overall for the team. Week 10 hurts a little bit in this, but it's not something he couldn't overcome with this team. The receivers, they complement each other very well. Overall, I think there's going to be a couple surprises in there, and he'll do pretty well on the receivers. Overall, kickers, defenses, I don't do. So anyway, we're all pretty much the same, shooting that until the season starts. We know what's going to happen. But anyway, overall, I think the record, Alstott's Army, very impressive, 12-2. In fact, I can see him going undefeated in his division. Looking at the division, how it lines up, I think he'll do very well. Week 10, he actually faces an out-of-division foe when he's the most weak, so I don't see a whole lot of weakness on this team. I predict he's probably going to make the playoffs. Probably win his division easily. So y'all just keep that in mind when y'all make fun of the computer. All right, we're going to take a look at Freedom Riders, Craig Mahagan's football team. We're going to take a look at all the positions, just see how it lines up against everybody else. Looking at quarterback, you got Drew Brees and Kyle Orton. Kyle is shaky as a starter, but he's not going to have to start it very often as long as Drew Brees stays healthy. He's going to get plenty of production out of Brees. Not much of a concern there. Running back, let's see, you've got Michael Turner, Sean Green, Michael Bush, and LaDainian Tomlinson. Now, his pickup of LaDainian Tomlinson, I have to say, is a very good pickup. Actually, I'm sure Donna did the move on that. But it covers Sean Green very well. I like it. He's a little bit limited on the running backs area. You're going to start, obviously, Michael Turner every week. But when you have LT and Sean Green off on the same week, you may want to consider the run and shoot with just Michael Turner. So that's something to consider. Overall, not a horrible situation at back, but very limited. And the receivers, let's see, we got Steve Smith, Mike Sims-Walker, Brent Selleck, Steve Breston, Devin Mashudu, Fred Davis, Anthony Gonzalez. You got a lot of receivers, but they're not exciting. There's not a whole lot of oomph behind them. There's nothing that thrills you, makes you hold your breath whether or not. Some could pan out to be fairly impressive. Brent Selleck should be able to produce reasonable numbers, but pretty low for a receiver, what you want to see out of a receiver. Steve Bresson has an opportunity because of the return yardage, punt return yards. As long as Arizona's defense can force another, team to punt, I guess. Mike Sims-Walker could be a nice surprise. And, of course, Steve Smith's recovering from the injury. We hope he has a better quarterback this year to throw to him, or Matt Moore. It is Matt Moore, isn't it, for the Carolina Panthers? Yeah, Steve Smith could be an issue, too. So I'm not crazy about the receivers here. Okay, overall, I'd have to say that the record is going to be towards the bottom of the division. I'm sorry, Craig, but I can't see more than 4 wins, 4-10 overall, and a 2-8 division record, and that's, hopefully you get lucky. Don't see no playoffs, man. Sorry.
Here's the rundown for the Shaps, owned and coached by Thomas Henley. We have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, backed up by Ben Roethlisberger. We know the story about Ben. He won't be that significant. We won't need the Shaps really won't need him until week 10, as Aaron Rodgers is that elite quarterback who will be starting pretty much every game, barring any injuries. Running backs, we have Joseph Adai, Cedric Benson, Fred Jackson. He's out for a little bit with a hand injury, but he'll be back, and he is also doing some punt returns, so hopefully we'll see some punt returns from him. And Noshawn Marino. He should start in Denver. You've got 2 solid backs and a good backup, so not a lot of depth at running back, but it's very doable. Wide receivers, tight ends, we have Devery Henderson, TJ Hujimama, Calvin Johnson was his keeper. He's solid. Jacoby Jones looking great in preseason. Of course, he's got Matt Schaub throwing to him. This ought to be someone that we should really watch. We have Nate Washington, Wes Welker, who is a sentimental favorite. He's exciting to watch. Opposite Randy Moss. I don't see them really being able to double team Moss. They've got to watch out for Welker, so I think we'll see some really good production from him. Also have Owen Daniels, the tight end in Houston, who's also looking really good in the preseason. Ought to be a really good target for Matt Schaub. I see a little bit of a problem here on the buys. Week 7 might be an issue, but Thomas, you have plenty of time to work up a fix for that. You have, a kicker, some kickers, and some defensive teams. Nothing outstanding on your defenses, but, work them as a team, look at the matchups, and start the best one per week. So the prediction for the division, it's a really tough division. We give you 4 and 6, and with the league finish of 7 and 7, probably with a little work, making the playoffs, it's going to be you have a really good shot at doing that. My bottom line is, and you're a veteran, you've got winning records. Thomas drafts with his gut, manages with his head, and you can never count him out.
All right, we're going to take a look at the Runts. A little slight name change from the past, and an old hand at fantasy football. She's come back for another round with the Abernathy League, so we're going to take a look at what kind of team she drafts here. And of course, this is my wife, so y'all know how this is going to go. Looking at quarterbacks, we got Jay Cutler and Carson Palmer. We got Jay Cutler should be a good quarterback this year, should be able to put up strong numbers. Carson Palmer is a nice backup. Between the two, we'd be able to piece together a very nice season. I'm really not concerned about the quarterback positions. Overall, the team, including quarterback, the buys are spread out. Matchups for the buys are pretty reasonable. She shouldn't have much trouble with those. Under running back, we've got Frank Gore, Javid Best, Jerome Harrison, Justin Forsett, Correll Buckhalter, and Thomas Jones. Yeah, very strong at running back, even if it doesn't look like it up front. Between Frank Gore and Javid Best should have the first starters right there, but with backups, with Thomas Jones was a steal in the 12th round, huge steal. You got Justin Forsett, should get some decent carries in Seattle. Doesn't work out. It's not that big a deal. It's the fourth back anyway. Jerome Harrison, while still unproven, could have a very strong year as well. Thomas Jones, I still love. Is an absolute steal in that position. Receivers, nice core of receivers. You got Roddy White, should be able to put up very strong numbers. Chad Ochocinco, which I believe he will get his fair share. Santana Moss, Dwayne Bowe, Devin Hester, Heath Miller. Between Santana Moss and Devin Hester getting the punt return yardage, Dwayne Bowe being the primary target in Kansas City, and I expect him to have to throw a lot. I think the receiving core should be able to field a strong receiving core week in and week out. As I mentioned before, bye weeks are spread out pretty nice. Like I said, I don't do defenses or kickers, but I'm sure she'll be fine there as well. Overall, I think a very strong team. She has an unfortunate happened to be in the same division as her husband. That's a little bit unfortunate. So I think she's going to take a couple of losses. Not necessarily saying to her husband both times, but it is a possibility. Overall, though, very strong. 12-2, division 8-2. I'm not saying both those losses are going to come against me, but they could. Definitely a team that's going to be playoff bound and very tough to beat.